Alright, part two of this Lionel repair, rebuild. I've been working on some cosmetic things, some screws that need to be replaced, and they need to be period correct. They need to be slotted screws, so I went out to the garage and found some slotted screws and painted them black. So those are going to go in there to hold in the light assembly and the gear mechanism, and the cow catcher actually has that's actually screwed in. So I got some screws for those that I'm going to replace, and cleaning up wheels, things like that. So it runs. I need to do a little more work on this, but that's where we're at with that. And the next thing is the tender, and what I found real quick is all these wires here are broke, so I actually have to replace that wire and resolder those. All this mechanism in here looks pretty good. And I started a video and my camera ran out of batteries and I missed part of the restoration. I'll show you what's in here and how it works. This comes apart easy enough. There's a screw in the end here. And lift that up, slide it out. So there's a relay here, and then the motor up. When I started on this, these wires here and here were cracked and most of the insulation was breaking off of it, and it was disconnected from here and here. So this connects to the center wheel here, as does this one here. So either one of these center things will power it, along with, you know, the outside wheel for the opposing side of the power. So what happens with this relay here is you have the whistle button on the transformer. There's a DC offset button when you press the whistle button, and it clicks in the relay and then puts the power to this, and this just spins around, and this is just like a regular whistle. It's just like a little fan in there that blows air through the whistle. So I'll show you what's going on and how this works. Two screws on the top. So like the engine itself, there is a commutator on the top there, and that should be shiny. When I took this apart, that was not shiny. It was all covered with black carbon. So I just cleaned that off, and that works. To get these brushes back in, kind of set that in place. And unfortunately there's enough space in here simply take the brush and the spring, put it up where it goes, and put that assembly back together. There you go. So you got the brushes set down where they need to go, and you put your screws right here, and you put your nuts back on the top. And that's all there is to it. It's pretty simple. So as long as these coils aren't burnt or anything else, then you should be okay. Just check the wires. See these wires here, they're okay. I'm going to leave them as is. It's got the cloth coating on them. So here are some pictures of the tender as I found it. You see it's pretty dirty. So a little bit of cleanup. Toothbrush and some cleaning. Get that back in shape. So I'm at a point here, I have a little bit of a dilemma. There's a little bit of rust right here and here, and you're going to see that when you put this back on. Well, I'll show you. So you can see these tabs here, you can see them sticking right out and they're dirty. So I got to clean the rust off of that and touch that up with some black paint. And I have a dilemma here of whether or not to take this whole thing apart and repaint the chassis. Normally, this little bit of rust here and this little bit of rust here, I wouldn't even bother worrying about it because you're not going to see it, and I just clean it up and make sure it's not rusty, But because of the fact that you are going to see this and I'm going to have to paint it, then it might look out of place because it's painted slightly different. So I'm going to try and touch it up, see if it looks okay. If not, then maybe I'll just paint the whole thing. Also, what I found is it's hard to see here. This pickup here, the spring is broken, and this whole chassis, the whole wheel truck assembly, is put together and then riveted. And also the same problem with the coupler here. The coupler's missing, and they go on and they're kind of riveted in at the bottom. So I'm gonna, to repair the coupler and repair this, I would have to drill all this out, and that's not terrible, but I don't know what parts are available to get it back together. And I might just see if I can find a new truck at a train show. We'll see what that costs, if it's worth it. So everything is there except for the spring here is broken, and like I said, to replace that I'm going to have to draw out some rivets, and the coupler here is riveted in, so I don't know if I can put a screw in it or solder it or have to take the whole thing apart. So that's where I'm at with this, and we'll take it upstairs and see if it works. So here's the coal tender. Okay, that works. Maybe a drop of oil in there wouldn't hurt to make it sound a little smoother. The next thing to work on is the caboose. Not a whole lot to do here except clean it up. And I noticed that this wire here was soldered on here at some time, and there's a crack in that wire right there in the insulation. So I'm going to replace that wire. This also is missing a coupler like the coal tender, so I'm going to have to figure out if they have replacement ones that you can snap in there and rivet in or screw in. I'm not sure what my options are on that, but I can fix that. And the neat thing is this does have a light. Let's see if we can make the light work. But the light works. I'll have to I'll clean it up a little bit, but there isn't a whole lot to do. And I'm looking at this. I don't know if there's any kind of railing or ladder or anything that goes on the end, so I'll have to look this up and see how this is supposed to look on the ends here. In other words, is there a deck out here with a railing on it? I'll look and see what I can find. So the only thing I'm going to do to clean this up, and needs a drop of oil on these trucks here and the wheels, and clean the gunk off the wheels themselves. So we should be good. The other thing, the power supply transformer here, it seems to be alright. I'm just going to clean that up. Here's the button for the whistle, which is kind of sticky, so I guess I will take that apart and just clean that so that the whistle will work properly. The cord, but I don't see any cracks in it or anything like that, so I'm going to leave it as is. I think it's alright. Maybe some armor roll on it, huh? This caboose comes apart easy enough. There's a screw on each end of it here. Just take the screw out, and there you go. So I'm just going to clean up that light bulb a little bit, and of course replace that wire. So that's all there is to it. And I'm not going to do a whole lot more with it. So I'm taking apart the power supply here because this button doesn't come back up the way it's supposed to. I'm not sure what I'm going to use to clean the surface of this. I'll find something that cleans it and shines it up. So there's just 4 screws that go in the top here. Here. You know, take the screws off. All I'm going to do with this, the inside of this, I'm going to get a Q-tip and some alcohol and just get the dust out of it. Right here, this line, I'm just going to clean that with a pencil eraser real quick. It's not bad, but I'll just clean it just to make sure. And the problem that I have here is I push the button down and it doesn't necessarily come back up. So I think a little bit of WD-40 or contact cleaner in there will probably take care of that. So that's all I'm going to do with this. Yeah, you can see that goes down and it's supposed to come back up, but it doesn't come back up. Too quick. So that's where I'm at with this. So all I did here is clean this with some Q-tips and some alcohol, and clean the inside of this with some alcohol and Q-tips. And this here, I gave a shot of WD-40, and you see that has a whole lot more action in it. Returns real nice. So hopefully that's all I have to do with this, and we'll be done with it. And the hopefully the contacts are in good shape on this, and we should be in good shape with that. And I'll put this back together. Thanks for watching.